If you think the workplace has changed a lot in recent years, you may be shocked at what's coming. Think about the dot-com boom way back in 1991 when the internet was first made public. It looked very different than it does today. Sites like MapQuest and Yahoo dominated the market. There were very few images on any site, and if you were lucky, you had a computer in your home. But luckily, technology growth increases exponentially. Now, internet connections are over 33,000 times faster, and companies like Stealth Communications are offering speeds around 200,000 times faster than when the internet was first launched. Processing power is following a similar exponential curve, getting smaller, faster, and more energy efficient every day. This technology is what's shaping the world, and even though significant events can be a catalyst for change, it's the technology that enables that change. Just imagine what would have happened during COVID if we didn't already have Google Drive, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and high-speed internet services like Fios and Comcast. Chances are that we wouldn't have seen a permanent shift to many people working from home. So if it's technology that's really shaping the future of work, what comes next? Here's a few of the changes we're likely to see. You may find some of them pretty surprising. VR and the Metaverse are two that we just can't skip over. Virtual reality is going to take in-person and remote work to a whole different level. Instead of going to the office, one day many people will just put on a VR headset. We'll be able to sit next to colleagues anywhere in the world, in any environment that we pick. It could be a conference table, the surface of Mars, the bottom of the ocean, or somewhere that hasn't even been imagined yet. It'll feel so real that we forget that we're sitting in our homes or in the office. The devices will be able to track our faces and our bodies so that our avatars or our virtual models will be able to convey our body language. Co-working spaces will replace permanent offices for most companies. The spaces will have large meeting areas and special VR hardware for events that allow people to connect around the world without leaving their hometowns. You'll see rigs like the one that Thrillseeker built based on Ready Player One, and they'll continue to get more advanced, more comfortable, and more accessible. Eventually, the technology will become as common as TVs, and people will have setups in their homes for every member of the family. Another essential technology is augmented reality. If you aren't familiar with AR, it's the technology used in games like Pokemon Go, Google Glass, and Microsoft's Hololense. Augmented reality overlays images or information onto the real world. Instead of having TVs and projectors, people will have personal AR devices. The applications are limitless and will change the future of work in every industry. For people with disabilities, AR is a game changer. Smart glasses are already providing real-time translations for deaf people in the hard of hearing, and it's not a stretch to imagine having apps for blind people that help them to get around, to read documents, and to explain what's going on in the room by translating camera images into audio. Now, those same technologies will make language barriers less of a factor, which will allow companies to become even more distributed. Construction workers will be able to see overlays of their projects with the exact location and specs they need to build to. Plumbers and electricians will use AR to see what's behind the walls. Security personnel will use augmented reality combined with artificial intelligence and facial recognition to identify potential threats. Interior designers will be able to show their clients previews of what their space could look like before they build it. AR technology will become as integrated into society as LCD screens. And as AR becomes more adopted, one of the major advances we'll see has to do with the interface. Of course, companies will continue to build and refine the connections with smartphones and voice commands and gestures, but the next step is to be able to control the device with your mind. Mind controls will start with a limited set of commands like selecting an option or pushing a button, and as the technology advances, we'll be able to do more complicated tasks like writing text messages or even entire documents. At some point, we'll even be able to create images too, though that may be a long way off. And with AR and VR driving us to learn to read thoughts, things could get really crazy. If we can read thoughts, we can send them anywhere. And that means that you could control automated manufacturing systems, send emails, run payroll, or even call for a self-driving car without even lifting a finger. Throw in some free-roaming robots and the possibilities are limitless. Of course, all that assumes that people are still running the manufacturing systems or are needed for any jobs at all. At some point, AI will be smart enough that it can run the manufacturing plants on its own. And as AI starts to run more of our systems and take over more jobs, people will be needed less for things like retail and fast food and manufacturing, and will be needed more for creative jobs like consulting, design, and marketing. But even those jobs will be heavily augmented with AI to help gather data and predict results. And soon after AI starts taking over basic jobs, we'll have to stop calling it artificial intelligence because it will be a real intelligence, just not a biological one. This will also be that infamous point called the singularity, and after that, work won't look anything like what it does today. If we still work, it'll be for the betterment of ourselves and society. And since people won't have to work anymore, people will become even more intolerant of toxic bosses and toxic workplace cultures. So the entire structure and concept of organizations will have to evolve. But as amazing as technology is, it won't all be a bed of roses. The more technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, human brain interfaces, and AI evolve, the faster we will have to adapt as a species. And that's going to cause some major issues with our human needs and with our core human nature. We'll see history repeat itself. People will find new ways to discriminate, the gap between income levels will divide even more, our education systems won't be able to keep up, and we'll have labor shortages in some fields while we have skyrocketing unemployment in others. We'll also have to account for a number of challenges with human psychology. The more we rely on technology, the less we tend to talk to people, and that weakens our connections to each other. That reliance on technology also diminishes our sense of contribution and our sense of value as human beings. And those feelings of importance are critical to keeping us happy and healthy. The good news is that the future is never certain, and we can avoid the downsides if we start to get ahead of things and start to make the right choices now. We need to invest in our population. We need to embrace more modern organizational structures like teal and agile and self-organization. We need to put a lot more effort into teaching emotional intelligence at a young age. We need national and world level leadership that understands the challenges we're about to face and that will make sure we're ready. Because if we wait until the problems happen, it's already too late. If you connected with this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check the description to help spread the word.